All right, I'm going to be replacing a battery in a Cosmo robot. Um, this is a 603035 600 mAh battery. I'm going to be testing this out to see how long it lasts. But replacing a battery in a Cosmo robot is not too difficult. You will need a soldering iron. I have one off to the side. You'll need a Phillips. I believe this is a Phillips number 0 screwdriver. And then just something like a small flathead screwdriver. We'll be using this one to kind of take the arms out from Cosmo here, and also to help with soldering the new battery to the body. So the first thing is I always take out all the arms, just right here. Stick that flathead in there and just push it in, and at the same time trying to get the arm out, and that pops open. Do the same on the other side. Stick it in there to push it out. The one trick I do to take this out is I turn this up and I push down here on that clip, and then I pull on the other side, and then it comes out. Then you just rotate the arms up to the up position and then just pull this out on both sides. So the arm only has one engine on its right side and nothing here on the left. So keep that over there. And then I take the wheels off next. Put that right there. And then to organize, I just keep everything kind of in the same place. And then with that flathead, go into that slot here in the wheel, and then just stick that in there, pop that out. Do it on the other one. Flathead, stick it in there, pop it out. And do the same thing on the other side. Now, it might be a little tight for you if this is the first time you've done it. I've taken this Cosmo apart many times, so it easily comes off, but you just want to take your time. Don't try and force it or else you might break this plastic. It's pretty difficult to do, but it's doable. Then you take your Phillips screwdriver. Thankfully, all of these from here on out are all Phillips screwdrivers. On the first gen Cosmos, the screws strip very easily. And you know you have a first gen if this doesn't click. This one clicks, so this is in the first generation. But on the first gen one, this screw strips very easily. So you need to make sure you're putting the right amount of force and then making sure it turns when you turn the wheel screw, or else you'll just strip it and then you'll have to figure out a way to get that screw off. So just do it carefully and just take your time when you're taking it apart. And then do the same thing on the other side. Off. And then here. Take that one off. Okay, now the wheels are off. And now for the head. If you don't have a plastic sploger like this, you can use your nail if it's long enough and then just pop that side off, or else you just need to use a plastic sploger and take the side of the head off. And this is on the left side, not the right side. I think you can do it on the right, but I always do it on the left. And then Phillips screwdriver, take 1, 2 screws out. And then I'll just put this on here on this side. Put the screw over there, take the faceplate or the screen cover over there. And then you just separate. First pop the speaker off, and then it just comes apart. Now the first gen Cosmos do not have this retaining bar plastic here. This isn't on the first gen one, so you won't see that on yours if you have a first gen. And so at this point, the screen is off, or the housing for the screen is off. We don't take this other side off so that this bar still remains with it. And then this is where that flathead comes into play, because you don't want to try. You want to try and take this off very carefully. You don't want to try and yank it, or else you might rip the entire port off. And then I just use the flathead to kind of pry it open a little bit on each side. If you have tweezers, you can try and use those to grab the sides and then just separate it. So the head piece is done. And then now we'll just take the rest of the body out. All these screws are all the same, with the exception for this one. This one right here is longer than the rest. It's really remarkable how Anki designed this, because all the screws are the same. You could take this screw out and not have to worry about which one you took out and just put it there. You could take this one out. And it's the same length. And then from there, just start taking the screws out. Put it over there. Take that one out. Take this one out. Yep. Over there, put this over here. There aren't any screws on its right side except for that one that was holding this plate, this plastic plate. So you have that screw, that one, and then these two here. Put that here, and then this center screw we'll just take out. And then as you can see, when you compare these two, this center screw is longer. Let's see if I can put it next to each other than the rest. So that's how you know which screw is which. So you can put all the screws together. Doesn't really matter, but this center one is the longest one, is the one that should go here. All the other ones are the same. And then just take that off. Now, if you have this to really help with soldering, I have helping hands that I use. It comes in handy when I'm dealing with changing the batteries on these guys. So I have two helping hands. You can do it without it, but this just helps keep it in place. Let's see if I can get it in frame. Okay. And this will just help me hold the body while I solder, take off the old battery. So this goes back, separate the two pieces, turn it over. You don't need to disconnect these wires unless you really want to just clean in there or something, but you don't really need to disconnect these two. If you're going to be taking these two apart, use that flathead again to help and aid in taking this one side at a time. Once I tried to pull it out and the whole plug-in socket just came off the board and ripped out the pads. So that board was dead. So in this case, I'm not taking them out because I'm just changing the battery. I already have a new one in there. But I'm going to be trying out this 6035 battery instead of this. I don't know which one I have in here. This is a 453438. So I'm going to be trying out this one because it's smaller and it fits better, and I just want to see what the runtime is. And then this is where the helping hands come into play. I just grab one side, grab another side, and it's there ready for me to desolder the positive and negative terminals on this side. What I tend to do is I'll put a little flux here. Now this is flux paste. I don't use the liquid one because then that just gets everywhere. This one is just paste you can find online. And I just put a little there. And then get my soldering iron. I'm gonna try and do this with the camera. And then I just pull. So that takes off the positive end. Well, almost. There. So positive side is off. Same thing on the negative side, and that's off. So I don't need to take this apart. You can if you want to, but it's just more work. When you're using your soldering iron, be careful not to touch here because this is plastic and this will melt it. You don't want to damage the body of your robot. Clean that off. And then on the new battery, so I just I'll put a little solder on each end, so to kind of prep it. So I'll just tin the ends a little bit with solder before I put them in. So I'll just go here. And then I just put a little. You don't want to put too much because then it won't be able to come through the small spaces that are here. And then I could put a little here, and a little here. Okay, so now we're ready to put in the new battery. Now, the original battery for Cozmo, let me see if I have one here, will have this plastic, this rubber thing on it. So you want to take that off. You can either use a heat gun or just try and pry it off. It's there to keep the battery, when it charges, it heats up, and it's there to separate the battery from the electronics that are on the body. So I believe that's what it's there to do, to kind of insulate the battery from. So you want to take it off your original battery and then just stick it on your new one, like so. And then what I'm going to do, some people cut this off to try and make it positive on this side, negative on that side. You don't need to. What I just tend to do, and this is the most difficult part of this entire thing, because I'm not taking this housing off, the contact housing. You just push this through the square hole that's there. Let's see if you can see. Like so. And then I'll just rest the battery on it. This is where the helping hands come into play, and they help. And then now I need to position this to be able to solder it directly where the positive terminal goes. So I go like that. And then using that flathead, I just hold it in place. And then I go down like that. And then the positive now is connected. And then, let me see if I can put this more in frame. And then I just do the same on the other side. Bend the wire a bit, stick it through. Once it's through, kind of have this rest here. Position the contact close to where it is. And my soldering iron. Hold it in place and then just solder it to the new terminal. And it's done. So now I have the new battery in place, and then what I do at that point is, so I have my isolating pad here at the bottom, stick this in, then I just fold these wires underneath it into the body. Like so. And then it's just reassembly. So reassembly, you take this metal weight at the back, put it in, and then push this side in. Well, this needs to go in underneath. Let's see, like so. Let's just make sure this is going in. Oh, I have something that's in the way. So I have that in there, and then I push this in. Okay, so that should go in, and then because 30 millimeters, well, 32 millimeters is the absolute max that battery that you need to get, or else this won't fit. I had another video showing the different battery sizes, but this is the one I'm testing out. And then before you close it, turn it over, and then you want to make sure that this is in the channel. You don't want to pinch it and then possibly damage your wire. So flathead again, I just push this down so it's in the channel, and then put it back together. There. And then at this point, you just go backwards with reassembly. Start off with the longest screw because it'll be difficult to put it in without it. Just make sure this goes down. Make sure that isn't pinching. It looks like it might be there. Okay. Okay, it's in the channel. Put this through. It looks like I have a break in mine, but let me get my Phillips and screw that back in. You don't want to over tighten or anything like of the sort. So put that in, and then I put the back in next. Like so. And then at this point, you can just pick a screw, drop it in, and reattach. So I'll put that in. Oh, I'll try to put that in. Let me get another one. And the same thing. Okay, so those two are there, and then I always forget. Always remember to put this one in before you put the head on. There have been times where I put the head on and I forget that I need to screw this in. If you have pinchers, you can use that to help. Stick it in. Yeah, it's always so. Let's grab this one again. The other day I clocked to see how long it actually takes me to replace a battery with no distractions or interruptions or screws flying all over the place. It will take you, the fastest I've been able to do is 15 minutes. But with this electronic, always take your time, especially with the screws. You don't want to strip them. You don't want to over tighten them. So that one's in, that one's in. And then we put this plate back. Put this here. Screw that in. So that one's in, that one's in, that one's in. And then this one is next. Put that in. Okay, so the main ones are done. Now the head. You want to be careful with the screen because it will retain your fingerprints. So just be careful when try not to touch it. Just hold it on the side. And then attach that first before you try and reassemble it, because if you try and reassemble it without attaching it, it's just going to be difficult. And then just hold in the head, take the right side, and then slide the back through that bar. If you don't have the bar, you don't really have to worry about it. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure that the LCD frame slots into the channel that's on the right side of the housing, like that. And then make sure also that the screw that's here, sometimes it'll pop off and you might not notice it, but make sure that screw is there, and then that goes in. The speaker wire is above this bar. Sometimes it'll go behind it. You want to make sure it's above. And then just hold that in place. Get the cover, stick that in, and then take the left side and then slowly try and get them to merge. Like so, which was very lucky. Sometimes you might have to wiggle with it, and then you can release it a little, put the speakers back in, they pop into place, and then you're good. You're now ready to put the screws back in. So put the first screw in, put the next screw in, and there, we're ready. Head is back on. Goes up and down well. There aren't any issues there. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. If you're going to be replacing the battery, get a toothbrush. The toothbrush you can use to clean out the gears. Sometimes lint or hair gets in there and can mess with the gears, so you want to just use a toothbrush to clean that while you're in here. I rarely see it get in here, but it's mainly these ones. These are the ones where some people might have problems where it might not be turning well or not, but you just want to get a toothbrush and make sure that's clean. The gears over there. And then we just put the wheels back on same way. So you can hand rotate it in and then just finish up with the Phillips screwdriver. Then put this here. That one's done. Pop the cover back on. Put the wheel back on. And do the same on the other side. I really love how Anki designed this robot. First time I tried to take one apart, I was very nervous. But then after doing it so many times, you just get really used to it and you just know where all the pieces go. You know what things you need to watch out for. So pretty much anyone can do this if you have a soldering iron, number 0 Phillips screwdriver, and then a flathead to kind of help aid with switching out the battery. Legs are done. Put this on here. And then for the arm assembly, going backwards, you want to attach this first. You could put this in first, but then it will just make attaching the bottom part of the arm, a bit more difficult. So that just goes in on the side, up, same way. Same thing on the other side. And then you put it down, and then stick this through the hole. Make sure it comes out on the other end. Line up one side of the notch. So the notch that's here, line that up with the arm. And then just push down till it kind of snaps into place. And then on the other side, you don't need to do anything because it's already aligned. And then it's in. And then, of course, once you've changed the battery, you want to test that it actually works. So I have a custom charger here that I sell on my site. I'm going to be testing that one today. So let me plug that in. There we go. It's charging. Oh. So once you see the green lights there, you know it's charging. Raise your arm up and down a bit. Make sure that his face is showing. And so that's how you change the battery on a Cozmo robot. Oh, forgot one thing. Side piece. So that one, if you do what I did, can kind of raise the arm a bit and then just sneak this through. Do the top part first because that goes in easy, and then just stick that in. And then that's done. So that's how you change the battery on a Cozmo robot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you guys, good luck with trying to do this. It's not that hard. And if you have any questions, let me know.